2024. The time is 2:01 p.m. I'm calling this meeting in order. In attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Matari, and Duncan. If you would join us for a moment of silence, please. All right, thank you. Ms. Smith, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Are there changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Public comment? Okay, hearing none. I would take a motion for meeting minutes, please.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes, items 1 through 3.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. And consent calendar.
I move that we approve the consent calendars, items 4 through 21.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. And payables.
I move that we approve payables for February 12 through 16, 2024 in the amount of $816,613.89 and jury panel payments in the amount of $3,422.55.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 23, bid opening RFQ 2024 SHO220, and this is for KCSO jail generator, and this is for the architecture and engineering. So would you like to just read that into the record?
Yes. We have received a package from Sierra Graybeal Kaufman Engineers in Spokane, Washington.
Okay, so just a motion to acknowledge the receipt, I suppose.
Go ahead.
All right. I move that we acknowledge receipt for RFQ 2024-SHO220 for the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office jail generator upgrade.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. So Dave, he said that into the record. He didn't put it in the motion, so is that all right?
It's okay, it's part of the record.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And, can I just make one comment too with this? Whoever's looking at this, can we make sure, I don't know if this was supposed to address the completion of the jail?
Nope.
No?
No, this is just for the jail generator.
Yeah, but the generator for the jail, right?
There's,
Or different, it's a different type of a generator.
yeah, it doesn't have to do with the expansion.
Okay,
Yeah, they build out of the pods.
that's a separate one.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Caitlin, do you want to upstairs? Do you have anything else on the agenda? Okay, then you're free to go. All right, thank you. Item 24, bid award recommendation for the KCSO North Remodel Project and Lieutenant Klinkefus.
Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant Klinkefus for the record with the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. We're asking for approval to accept the bid from Stancraft for the detectives area remodel. And that bid was $428,000 for the detective side and $110,000 for electrical and HVAC on the evidence side.
What effect does this have on the budget? Because I think it was only projected to be $307,000 for detectives and $34,000 for electrical.
It is going to be over projected budget by approximately $130,000 is most likely what the overage will be. There's some, one of the things that wasn't counted in there was some contingency fees that as we found out today when I was watching your 10 o'clock, we didn't have contingencies built in to the $950,000 ask when we submitted the budget. So that would have probably compensated for the $130,000 additional that we need. But again, we didn't know what the bids were going to come in at. So that's kind of where we're sitting at right now.
Okay. Thoughts on that?
My only thought is, and again, this is just outside of my wheelhouse here, is that we begin construction on projects on a building that we don't really know the full scope of. And I'm always leery without understanding the scope of the building, which we discussed, and that there was going to be some sort of an inspection done before we give the green light on any future, projects for this building. So that's my only really thought and concern.
Okay, has the inspection been scheduled?
We have a scheduled electrical inspection. We don't have a full inspection scheduled for the HVAC. Most of the HVAC is being looked at right now for conversion to gas. And so we're hoping that that inspection will suffice. They'll have to look at the whole system anyways. So other than if you want us to get a structural engineer in there, there's really, other than electrical and HVAC, I guess I could defer to the architect.
I would tell you structurally the building's sound. It's built pretty stout. So I would think about the only thing is some of the older equipment in the older part of the building for the HVAC probably should be taken a look at. I know the 2 units on top of the detectives area were just replaced less than 5 years ago. Most of the admin area, those units were upgraded 10 years ago when we did that remodel in that area. It would just be the warehouse parts of the building where the older equipment for HVAC is located. In regards to the evidence build out, that was just a big open empty space. So I don't anticipate very many, there's not very many things that could be change order items in that unless there was something that was added. The detectives area, the mechanical is pretty new in there that was just recently installed. The electrical I know is fairly new in that area too, so there shouldn't be any surprises with much of that. So I don't see, anytime there is a remodel, you're going to have a few things that pop up for unknowns, but I don't see anything drastic on what we're looking at right today.
So the electrical and the HVAC are 2 inspections that they have ordered. So would you like to put this off a week then?
When do you think that would happen by?
It's all contractors, whether they have time, so it could be weeks, could be a month, I don't know, it depends on when Tom's working on getting them scheduled, so.
Yeah, I think it's really less about me and more about what this board wants to do. I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts with that. While I appreciate what you're saying, Corey, I guess my only question is, how much can you back that up? And if you can back it up so that if something is discovered, then, I'm all for it. But if it's just, just casual conversation saying you shouldn't have any problems, because what I've discovered last week is that there was things that were brought before the board that I really wasn't aware of, especially on the electrical stuff. With the wiring and things like that, putting
Yeah, that was on the fire alarm.
the fire alarm and being connected, and something about shocky was the word that was used, I don't know what that meant exactly, but it doesn't sound good. So I just, from my perspective, it sounds like there's more we need to be aware of, but, it sounds like this building really well, and I don't know how much you know about it.
I know a lot about the buildings and the parts that we've added on to. The areas where there's been some issues are the older parts of the building that we haven't done work in the last 20 years, and the owner's done some of that work themselves. Mm-hmm. So that's why there's some unknown in the older portions of the building.
Yeah.
So.
One contractor that we have been using for some electrical has looked at the area where the evidence build out is going to be. And as of last week, he didn't have any concerns that he saw. And like Corey said, that is a very just open area. There's really nothing there. The only thing that was there electrical is a few outlets, some lights, and that's about it. So I would agree with him. We don't anticipate seeing any issues there. The detectives building, or the building where detectives are going to go, is one of the newer additions, I believe, of that building. So, again, it's at the board's discretion. If you'd like us to move forward with inspections and hold off on this contract, then that's, we'll do whatever the board discretion is.
Bill, what is your thoughts on that?
We're under no time crunch, is that correct?
We could, I guess I would say, historically, the longer we wait, the more expensive things are. So I would ask that the board considers letting us move forward with this project, because as we keep finding out, the longer we push things out, the more expensive things get. And I'm assuming this bid is only good for a certain amount of
30.
time.
Bids
And so-
are typically good for 30 days.
And I would defer to the sheriff. I see his hand go up a few times.
When's the 30-day deadline?
It would be the first part of March, but I
First
know I
part
could.
of March?
First part of March. It would probably, I think we got bids on February 6th, so it'd be around
6th would
March
be 30
6th,
days.
March 7th. But we could probably stretch that out a little bit. I know the contractor pretty well.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Sheriff?
Hi, Robert Norris, Sheriff. When we closed escrow, or when the county closed escrow, did we receive a certificate of safe and it's habitable? I mean, I guess I'm concerned with the health and welfare of employees over there. Did we receive that as part of the contract?
I don't believe so. The people who were involved in that are not here now. I'm not sure if Sean went through, Corey, do you remember if Sean went through the building? Because they were all still inhabiting it for the next 3 years after we closed.
I believe Sean toured the building and went through it, but there wasn't, I have no idea. I
Formal
don't think
inspection.
there was any kind of formal certificate of anything issued.
Sure. So are you suggesting then a more formal inspection be done before we go ahead with this project?
Just for the purpose of the health and safety of the employees, yes. As far as whenever you buy a building, of course, you're going to have issues with remodels and what have you that might cost more than what you originally had thought. However, I think that we should at least make sure that for the health and safety of county employees, that it's safe to work there.
So it sounds like we have 2 weeks time frame here, and longer if Corey can get an extension. So Lieutenant, if you would let us know when the inspection's going to happen,
Yes, ma'am.
then that would probably be helpful.
So am I tracking electrical, HVAC, and
And whatever health and
I mean,
safety.
actually,
health and
those
welfare?
things, did we do a soil sample? Is a soil sample certificate? Is soil clean? I mean, I've heard these PCBs, I've seen these signs in there. Are we clear from PCBs?
That
Yes,
actually, I
no?
think is something that Kootenai Electric had done they have to do some reporting on that.
Okay.
So there actually may be some documentation. I
Okay.
think Mike Stevens had mentioned that. He used to be the building maintenance person. Because they have to file some sort of certification with EPA every year, I believe on that. So we can find that out.
Corey, is that something you're going to look into, or do you need somebody else
I
to
can
make
call
the call?
Mike and I can call Mike and find that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I guess that takes care of items 24 and 25 for today. Thank you. All right, item 26, board approval request for higher compensation for the, there's an ACO lateral applicant. And let's be mindful of personnel, and if we have to go into executive session, then we probably want to do that at the end. So, Captain Deep.
Yes. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Captain Andy Deek for the record. Today's a good day for Kootenai County Dispatch and Sheriff's Office and the Commissioners, HR, everybody involved. It's been a cumulative effort. As you're all aware, the current board had approved the recruitment bonuses as well as a higher duty pay for our ECO matrix not too long ago. And the fruits of that effort are coming to fruition now. We've got a lateral applicant who we have extended a conditional offer to that has more than 22 years of experience. This person's obviously entering into our pay matrix at a level 3 because he matches the Idaho certification for that. Currently, the board, I believe, budgets for market, which is year 4 in that matrix. We had made an assumption that based on his years of experience, we could offer it a conditional at 5, year 5 on that 3rd tier step. We're asking for the board to approve step 7, which would be the highest pay on that ECO matrix. This person most likely in the next few months to a year will meet the requirements for supervisory level adjustment, they would get promoted to that supervisor pay band then based on their experience. And it's our hope too, we've got notice verbally that we might have a couple retirements from our long-term ECOs as well. So he would be backfilling that loss down the road, still continuing. And second on this request is we also have another lateral applicant who's Idaho certified, almost done with their background process as well. And rather than coming back before the board again for that secondary person to get approval to do the same type of scenario for that secondary applicant.
So Dave, this just states applicant on the agenda, and it sounds like there are applicants, plural. Is that an issue?
Are you approving it for more than one, Andy?
That's
Just
what
that we
he's
can make an offer for the future one. We've already made an offer on this one. We're asking for higher duty pay approval
you
for
mean-
the one applicant. I can come back, it doesn't matter.
Right,
It's a
okay,
technicality.
but it's not really higher duty pay, it's putting them in on their step, matching their experience.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I guess I would advise just approving or taking up and considering the lateral applicant
Okay.
pay. For the other prospective employee, I think that probably needs to come back.
Okay, and that's fine, and you should be able to get on a HR meeting here soon,
Great,
so.
thank you.
Okay, questions on this or motion?
Do you feel comfortable that this person will be able to fill a leadership role?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
I heard somewhere that you've stopped accepting applications or something like
We're
that.
pretty full right now. We still have applications waiting to go to backgrounds. I've got 12 currently in backgrounds, 4 of which are laterals, all looking really good.
Yeah.
So if we get the 4 and a couple, 3 more, we're gonna be tapped out with the ability to train them all within, the laterals won't require as much training, but we've only got 3 trainers over there to run them through the process.
And our goal is still 17 by the end of the year.
120, yeah.
But
17 would be great. I think 7's what you agreed upon with the lieutenant.
17 total, I thought, in the office. There are 25
Oh,
positions.
yes, you're right.
17 is where,
Correct.
if we could fill it with 17 people that could.
We're hoping, yes. This certainly has helped. We haven't seen these kind of applicants in years. Quality applicants that's what we were hoping for, is to
Yeah.
offset the overworked status of the people that are faithfully serving right now, because they just want time off.
I think it's great,
Yeah.
small little changes can have big outcomes if you
Huge.
put them in the right place, so. I move that the board, Bill, did you have something you wanted to?
No,
All I'd say is good job. It's nice to see a smile
Thanks,
on Captain Deke's face.
I move that the board approve the request for higher compensation for the ECO lateral applicant with the sheriff's office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, and that is going in at a step 7.
yes, ma'am.
So just for clarification.
Thank you very much.
You bet, thank you. All right, item 27, fourth amendment to the landfill gas purchase agreement with Kootenai Electric and our solid waste. And our director, John Phillips, is here today.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Phillips for the record. Excuse me. As you know, Kootenai Electric operates a gas-to-energy facility at the landfill. Because Kootenai Electric, their gas-to-energy plant is owned by Kootenai Electric and not by the county, IDEQ has had Kootenai Electric perform their own emissions monitoring as a separate entity on the landfill property. The emissions from the plant were found to be safe within the property boundary, but the results did create the need for Kootenai Electric to have written exclusive use of the property that they currently lease from Kootenai County. This agreement is necessary to be in place for Kootenai Electric to continue the operation of the gas-to-energy facility. The Solid Waste Department is requesting that the BOCC approve and sign this Fourth Amendment to the landfill gas purchase agreement with Kootenai Electric.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the Fourth Amendment to the landfill gas purchase agreement with Kootenai Electric.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, thank you. All right, item 28, contract for network connectivity for PMR, and it's with FatBeam and our IT department. Grant, are you on the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. Yeah, this is just a standard contract to get network connectivity extended to the new PMR location. It's $400 a month on a 5-year lease. We do have the non-appropriation language in the master contract with FatBeam for that. Just as a point of reference, this is a pretty good deal. This is a 500 megabit speed connection, and most of our branch offices right now through a competing company are connecting at only at 100 megabits per second, and those we're paying close to $700 a month for. So in light of I don't want to rabbit trail too much, but in light of getting this cost, we will be entering talks with FatBeam to possibly look at taking over any of these others that they have local connectivity to get a cost savings. But back to PMR again, this will just enable us to provide, as we're contractually bound with PMR, provide them internet and phone service at the new location on Ironwood.
Okay, great. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the contract for network connectivity for PMR with FatBeam and Information Technology.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, and on Tuesday, we can get an update on where we're at with our PMR things stacking up for when we can get in there and get some stuff done. So there's that. Item 29, proposed project agreement, Apollo Mechanical Contractors, and this is 2 HVAC systems for the 4th floor of the courthouse and the judge's chambers, and it's with our Building and Grounds Department. Greg.
Yeah, this is just approval for 2 HVAC units. We have one that's currently down. So the judge's office is
Can you turn your, I'm sorry, is your mic not on?
So it'd be $6,989 each, so $13,978 to do both units.
Are these kind of window units, or are they?
They're a mini split, so they won't go
mini
in.
splits.
They'll go on the wall. Right now, they have just a heat pump on the outside of the top of the roof of the building, and they're just old and they're just wore out.
Okay. And which, is this coming out from district court funds, or is this coming out from your
This will come out of the 5-year plan.
5-year plan? Okay. All right, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the proposed project agreement with Apollo Mechanical Contractors for 2 HVAC systems for the 4th floor of the courthouse, judge's chamber.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Sorry if I didn't ask if anybody had any questions. Okay,
No, we were good.
all right.
It's usually pretty good here.
Okay. Item 30. Board approval request. This is discontinuing cell phone service for our maintenance operators, and I believe they will now get a stipend to use their own phones. So,
Yeah, right now, my guys are using these. If they have to take any pictures or anything, we get an extra charge on them. Any text messages, we get charged more. So we just want to give them a stipend, and then they'll just carry one phone instead of 2 phones. So it's $30. It's budgeted. I budgeted in my budget for this year, so it won't be any cost increase.
Great. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the request to discontinue cell phone service with Building and Grounds and give them a $30 a month stipend.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. And Greg, I think that this might suffice. I'll check with Leanna just to make sure, because normally we do it 1 per person, but I'll see if she can just make sure we get our names on here and do it, so you won't have to come back or put it on consent calendar.
Right now, there's 3, but one guy's
4. Okay, thank you. All right, item 31, board approval request. This is a request to use donated funds for AED purchases. Ms. Littlefield, are you on the line?
Yes.
Great.
This is Andrea Littlefield for the record. OEM was approached with a request to seek funding to support the need for AEDs and patrol vehicles. OEM explored several grant opportunities, and we were unsuccessful due to the parameters surrounding the AEDs to secure any of those funds. So we explored additional potential funding sources and approached a few community partners, and we got interest from Northwest Specialty Hospital and Stan Craft. They donated $17,208 to the Sheriff's Office to purchase 12 AEDs for deputies, so they will have this equipment readily available when needed. And it is OEM's recommendation that the board approve the request to utilize these donated funds so we can order the AEDs for the patrol cars.
All right, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the request to use donated funds for AED unit purchase for OEM.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, and thank you very much, Northwest Specialty and Stancraft Construction, for helping our life-saving efforts for our deputies out in the field. Okay, item 32, board approval request. This is ARPA funding allocation change, and it's in our auditor's office. Ms. Falcon, please.
Brandy Falcon for the record. First, I just wanted to clarify for item number 29, Greg and I had talked about the funding for that would be the 5-year plan fund balance. And I just wanted that out there on the record to make sure you guys were okay with that.
Okay.
And then, so for my item, number 23, this is a request to change the ARPA funding. So we have one senior accountant position that was 30% ARPA funded. That position was vacant for a significant amount of time, so we had to reallocate the ARPA accounting duties to 2 other staff members. And since they've been doing the work and they're going to continue doing that for the rest of this fiscal year, I want to reallocate that 30%. I want to put 10% on each of our other 2 senior accountants. We have enough salary savings to only have to use 20% ARPA, and we can just utilize the rest of our savings for the remainder of the positions. So if you have any questions for me.
Are these getting increases as well, or is just the percentage changes?
It's just the funding changes. There's
Okay.
no wage increases for the people in those positions.
Just the way you said it, how it was going forward,
sorry.
I just want to make sure that it was...
Yeah, so we have the 2 senior positions that will now each have 10% ARPA funding. The vacant position was just recently filled, and that one will go to be 100% tax supported with no ARPA.
And then next year it'll be all tax supported.
And next year they'll all be tax. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions, motion?
I move that we approve the ARPA funding allocation change as requested by the auditor.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Item 33, grant application. This is AIP 061, and it's with the Federal Aviation Administration in the amount of $4,617,535. Cash match from our Fund 30, which is our dedicated airport fund, is $230,877, and that is a 5% match, and 5% would be a state of Idaho match. And Ms. Stevenson, you can speak to this?
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioners. Kim Stevenson with the airport for the record. I wanted to mention, starting out, that items number 33 and 34 are both related to the same project. The funding that the FAA has available for the dedicated funds isn't quite enough to cover what we anticipate the project to be. So having said that, AIP 61 and 62 would be a project to extend taxiway Charlie, relocate the Mauser threshold lights, remove taxiway Delta North of runway 624, construct the ARF access road, re-sign 4 of our taxiways, and relocate our access road or bypass road to get around the runway end. These amounts are estimates at this point. We won't know for sure how much the funding will be or the prices will be until the bids come in, but we're anticipating $4.6 million for AIP 61, with a 5% cash match from both the airport and the state of Idaho.
All right, questions on this
No questions.
motion?
Do you want to do these separately? I guess we should.
Yeah.
I move that we approve grant application AIP 061 with the Federal Aviation Administration in the amount of $4,617,535 and a cash match from Fund 30 of $230,877.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, so that was kind of apportionment and PE funding, and then this next one is for the BIL money. Grant application AIP 062, Federal Aviation Administration, in the amount of $931,962. Cash match from Fund 30 is $51,776, and that would be the 5% again as well. So, Ms. Stevenson, you already spoke to this, so is questions or motion?
I move that we approve the grant application AIP 062 with FAA in the amount of $931,962 and a cash match from Fund 30 of $51,776. That's our 5%.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, and item 35 is the grant correspondence, and this is sponsor assurances for grants AIP 061 and 062 with the FAA. And Ms. Stevenson, do you want to speak to this?
Yes, Commissioners, Kim Stevenson again for the record. These sponsors assurances are for the two grants that we're applying for. They package together and go to the FAA, and it's just that the county, the airport are agreeing to accept the funds from the FAA, and everything that goes along with that will maintain our obligations to the FAA.
Questions? Motion?
No questions. I move that we approve the grant correspondence and sponsor assurances for grants AIP 061 and 062 with the Federal Aviation Administration.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 36, Resolution 2024-24, and this is surplus equipment. This is IS 5000. It's the Neopost mail machine deletion, and it's with our Mail and Reprographics Center. Mr. Reed.
Yes, Commissioners, David Reed for the record. This is our old postage machines. It's just going to be disposed of. It is no use to the county, and there's no cash value, so we're just going to resolution to dispose of it.
Okay, is it going to landfill, or is it being?
It's just going to landfill.
Wow.
There's nothing we can do about it because the meter
Scrap.
that goes in is owned by the post office. Once that's taken out, it becomes obsolete, and nothing can be done with it.
How big is it?
Pardon?
How big is the machine?
It fills up this table.
Okay, so not really worth scrap or anything to.
No, it's got too much plastic and a lot of rubber in it and a lot of metal. It's a lot of varied parts. That's not.
And this is what we just spent $10,000 on its upgrade, right?
We just bought a new one just under $18,000 for the
Under
new one.
$18,000.
Yeah.
Is that in and working now?
It works very well, actually.
Good.
They actually build functional obsolescence into these things that force us to have to actually buy them. I know that because I've had to do that personally,
Exactly.
and it's frustrating.
All right, motion.
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-24, the surplus equipment, the IS 5000 Neopost mail machine deletion for Reprographics and mail.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, items 37 and 38, resolutions 2024-28 and 29, and this is to classify records with KCSO Civil Division and to destroy same records once classified. And Lieutenant Klinkefus, please.
Yes, ma'am. As you said, we're asking to classify the listed records on Exhibit A on the resolution as those that are deemed to be to be destroyed. And once they're classified that way, we are asking permission to destroy them.
Okay, questions, motion?
You want to do both of these? Yes. Okay. I move that we approve Resolution 2024-28 to classify records with the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, Civil Division, and Resolution 2024-29 to destroy those records with the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, public comment again.
Question for clarification on a previous subject and regarding this third-party inspection. Who's going to pay for that? Is that going to come from the money that's already been allocated to the remodel, or?
I think we needed kind of a cost estimate on that. I don't think that you have any more money in the remodel thing, so yeah, just bring it forward and we'll probably use fund balance for it.
Off the top of my head, the estimate for the electrical inspection, again, these are round numbers, I don't have it in front of me, was $2,500, I believe, dollars to perform that inspection. But we'll have to reach out to somebody to, do any soil testing that we may need to do, or.
Well, we'll get the information from Kootenai Electric, and then that will determine if we need to go out for a separate thing or not. So, is that reasonable?
Yeah, let's start there first.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Come on up, Ron.
Again, I don't think we should be signing any contracts on remodeling of this until we've had thorough inspections. If this has been a Kootenai County Electric location, they have probably stored transformers on there. Transformers have PCBs in them. To remove soil and meet EPA requirements can get very expensive. Also, were there any fuel tanks on there? How old is the building? Did they bury fuel tanks for fuel oil or stuff? All this stuff could come up, and we could build this building, do all this expansion, and then find out it's going to be cost absorbent to satisfy EPA for what the sheriff brought up were health concerns. Also, the building should be inspected for mold as far as health. It should be inspected for lead paint. It should be inspected for asbestos as far as insulation of pipes or heating or anything like this. All of this is health related. All this can be very expensive. None of this has been addressed, and I think the sheriff is right as far as these are requirements for a healthy work environment. And it's just insurance. And it was mentioned, the gentleman was giving verbal stuff. Verbal doesn't work when you do business. You need contracts, you need signatures. And I don't think we should be moving forward until we know this is a safe place for people to work. Also, the fire protection system in here, another one as far as safety with the employees. Doesn't meet all the sprinkler stuff requirements if you're going to be putting people in here now versus whatever Kootenai Electric used it for versus maybe storage. These are things that need to be done before you start doing improvements on this building. Just an opinion. The other one on the item number 23, I don't know how many bids you got for the generator, but Caterpillar has a division that does generators for backup, for hospitals, for infrastructure, for all sorts of stuff. They would give you a bid at no cost. You've got so I don't know how many bids you got. I don't know how big this guy is that did this one, but I think you need to at least let Caterpillar give you a bid to do this job too.
So,
You got a division that does this.
so this is put out to the public for bid, and we've got one response. It is for a request for qualification, so it's not the actual generator itself, it's for the engineering. So that's where the process is right now.
Cat would do the engineering part for you too as part
They
of the bid.
didn't respond to the bid, so if they.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were aware of it or not. 'Cause
It's
your
all
cat dealer
posted.
here, your cat dealer here doesn't work with generators.
Yeah, it's all posted in the newspaper and wherever else it needs to be posted.
Well,
for
that's
the-
local.
Yeah. That's the law.
Well, okay, whatever. I mean, I just will make sure we get a fair bid.
Sure.
And get the job done, you know. And these guys, they got a division that does this. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, any other public comment? 2:41, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.